I send greetings to all Abians who are listening to me now. My name is Umeh Kalu. I am a legal practitioner. I am from Ohafia. I'm one of you. I have a very big burden in my heart which I want to share with you. And it has to do with the forthcoming global elections in Abia State, which will hold as proclaimed by INEC on the 18th day of March, a few days from now. By way of introduction, I can state emphatically that I am a full Abian in all its ramifications. Apart from birth, I schooled here in Abia. I was at National High School, Aba, within the period 1973 to 1978. I equally had my university education here in Abia State. I was at Aba campus of the then Imo State University from 1981 to 1985. I've equally spent some service time here in Abia when I was the Attorney General of the state from 2009 to 2019. And within that period of 2009 to 2019, I had the privilege of going around Abia State. And I can emphatically tell you that there's no part of Abia State that I've not been to. That is as much as I can tell you about my Abianess, if I should use that word. But let me say this, that the period we are indeed very trying times. I have seen a lot of videos flying around, some commendable, some too that one would not expect that those videos will be trending in our society. But all these point to one issue, and that is that there are contending parties over the governorship of Abia State. This is election time. And in a few days' time, we'll be going to the polls to elect our governor. Now, let me say this. It does appear, from the look of things, that we'll have a war situation. There are drums of war being beaten. I have seen some ethnic emotions being raised. But let me say this clearly, that we don't have a war situation in our hands. I don't see any contest between the Kwangwa people, or even the Ngwa people, and the Obende people. What is at stake is the soul of Abia. Abia State, I must tell you from history, is a state that from creation was blessed by God. We started quite early in life. I reckon that we had Michael Okbara, the former Premier of Central State, Eastern Nigeria, who was from Abia State. I reckon that Joe is here, foremost politician, was from here. Jaja Nwachukwu from the Ngwa block was from Abia State. I reckon that even Akanobia was from this state before they were gifted to the Bonny State. Coming to my own home, Professor Njoko and Dr. Kalezara, these are all eminent Abians. So to that extent, the whole part of Eastern Nigeria respected Abia State. We started quite early on time. Abia, the commercial nerve center of this state, plays host to everybody. There's nobody from the eastern part of this country that has no relation in Abia. It's a foremost city. Surprisingly, for one reason or the other, we find ourselves where we are today. Abia is now a pariah state. Everything about Abia is being discussed in the negative. Some of us who go out, we come back home with our heads bowed because we've been stigmatized as the weeping dog of the southeastern region. All our neighboring states have surpassed us in all indices of human and fiscal development. In the past, people from Akwa Ibom State used to come here, people from Ebonyi, to do some menial jobs. The reverse is now the case. Akwa Ibom State now is a place people relish to go to. Same for Ebonyi. Even Imo State, with all the troubles that they have, there is actually no state within the southeastern region, or even in this country, that we can talk about. As I speak to you, it is obvious to us that our state capital, Umuahia, remains a rural setting. There is nothing here to show that Umuahia is the state capital. I wouldn't want to talk about Aba. There are areas in Aba. Like I said, I schooled in Aba. In those days, Port Harcourt Road was a beehive of activities. I almost wept the day I went to National High School, where I schooled. When we were there, National High School had 3 campuses. Even the first campus is inaccessible. The roads are not there. The school is dilapidated. I recall that as Attorney General, there were some funds that World Bank brought to Abia State that was supposed to be used for the construction of Aba Road, the Port Harcourt Road in Aba, Orata Road, Ngwa Road, and some other roads within that area. That led to the demolition of several buildings. And as I speak, 6 years after, those buildings are still there. The road has not been constructed. Nobody can access Ihoji in Aba, which equally is one of the most populated areas in this town, because the place is not much travel. Ngwa Road is a no-go area, and some other areas in Aba. So, my brothers and sisters, it's quite a sorry state that we find ourselves in. Now, a lot of people talk about my service in Abia State, and some allege that I contributed because I was here and I served these governors as Attorney General. Let me say this loud and clear. In as much as I don't want to deny culpability, because one can be culpable by association, but I worked here as Attorney General. My service records are there. If you ask serving and retired judges of Abia, they will tell you what I did as Attorney General. If you ask the staff of the Ministry of Justice, they will tell you I wasn't in a position to take political decisions. I remained a professional, and I was professional in the discharge of my duties. I was not in charge of Abia funds. The only duty that I had as Attorney General was that we were doing documentation. When I was here for 10 days, for 10 years, I signed not less than 50,000 contract documents. I asked people to go out and ask. I was the last signature on every contract document. I never collected a dime from anybody. I never collected a bottle of Coke from anybody. I was even inaccessible. The staff who worked with me, one of them who was PAMSEC, is now a judge. I had people who were with me. Some of them are still serving. There are directors that they will tell you. Even the contractors who were coming to me, most of them are the friends of those who are on the other side now. Friends of the governors that I served. Their relations and friends. They can come and attest to that. As Attorney General, there were committees that I was supposed to serve. One of them was what we call F&GPC. F&GPC is a committee that is in charge of evaluation of contracts. After a few years, I discovered that that committee was not doing its job. I told the then SSG that I will not attend this meeting. Go and find out, go and look at the records. Ask Obi Noriako, who was commissioner for several years. I never attended that meeting for once. Initially, I was sending my permanent secretary, who is now a judge. But after a few months, I asked him not to stop going. I'm saying this so that people will know the role or roles. And after I had raised issues about what was happening in that committee, I was supposed to be in the economic team, a committee that was headed by the deputy governor, that was in charge of IGR and all that. And I discovered that they did not know their left from their right. The essence of that committee was just to come and give out revenue windows to some of their cronies and relations. I never attended their meeting after 1 or 2 meetings, till I left office. I don't want to talk about the ESCO, Because at a point I discovered that all that was being done at the school was approval of funds for contractors. And I thought that wasn't what that school should be. And I stopped attending. So you can check out my record. There are many things that I saved for Abia State, but this is not an opportunity for it. I want to address the issue of these coming elections. Now, there are certain news that have been flying around, allegations, all centered on Alex Otti, whom everybody sees now as the one to beat in this election. I have heard about allegations about Alex Otti running down Diamond Bank. I've heard allegations about Alex Otti running down Modern Ceramics Umuahia. I've heard allegations about people saying that Alex Otti cannot be compared with P2B, that he doesn't live a frugal life. He goes about flying in private jets, and he stays in seven-star hotels. I've heard about allegations that if he emerges as governor, he's going to retrench staff that have been employed, and that even the Greek gift of one level, which the governor has given, that is going to redo all those things. I've heard about people talk about that is high-handed. I've talked about, people talk about even where he comes from. I saw a video trending about a man, I mean not a video, I had a voice message of somebody talking about Alex Otti coming from Arochukwu and not Isialangwa, and all those stories. For me, those are not the issues. But let me address them. I say this as a responsible Abian, as a citizen of this country, and as somebody who is well informed of the issues that I want to discuss. So, talking about the mismanagement of Diamond Bank. Diamond Bank, we all know that Alex Otti was the managing director of Diamond Bank. And it's on record that within the period that he was MD, he raised the capital base of Diamond Bank. He equally raised the balance sheet balance of Diamond Bank. He established so many branches of Diamond Bank. Diamond Bank was a first-class bank. It was within that period that he was the chairman of several bodies, including the body of managing directors of banks. He left Diamond Bank with his head high, to everybody's knowledge, and for the purpose of coming to contest the governorship, voluntarily. Diamond Bank today is part of Access Bank, and Access Bank is a grade A bank, financial institution in this country. It's been several years that he left the banking industry. He has never been asked, questioned by any authority, either regulatory or security or bodies, about his conduct. So talking about Diamond Bank, if you ask me, it doesn't hold water. It doesn't hold water. I have equally heard stories about Alex Otti running down Modern Ceramics. Like I said earlier, I was here as Attorney General for 10 years. I know the history of Modern Ceramics. Modern Ceramics was ceded to Abia State government by the government of Umeh Kalu. I mean, was ceded to the Catholic Church by the government of Umeh Kalu, government of Ojo Kalu. Several years back, as Attorney General, I saw the documents of Modern Ceramics. Abia State government has 5% holding Modern Ceramics. There are about few Abians. I wouldn't know why they were giving shares, about 15 of them. I don't want to go into all that. And Catholic Church has about 80% holding. That Modern Ceramics was ceded. The last managing director of Modern Ceramics, to my knowledge, was Pascal Dozier. He was the managing director. And at a point, I was in court at the Federal High Court over Modern Ceramics, because there was a liquidation proceedings instituted by Bank of Industry to liquidate Diamond Bank. And I came in on behalf of the Abia State government as Attorney General, since we had minority shares, because the minority shareholder has a right. And we had to arrest that liquidation process. It was in that process that we had to negotiate, I had to negotiate with the Catholic Church to hand over Modern Ceramics back to Abia State government, especially since they have breached the terms upon which that place was ceded, that Modern Ceramics was ceded to them. We went into several meetings, and at the end of the day, the sole reason And there was a document prepared by me handing over modern ceramics back to the Abia State government. Umeh Kalu was made a committee chairman to oversee the handover. The permanent secretary then, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, was a member. Abia State government, after the handover, could not provide seed money. Then the committee of Umeh Kalu, they were asking for only 5 million naira to enable them pay staff salaries of those who have been overseeing modern ceramics, and then to engage staff too, security staff that will protect the assets and properties. And I recall that before I left, there were about 2 or 3 theft incidences there. That was the stage that I left. I don't know what happened later, whether they've sold the place, but I left there having negotiated a Catholic church out of it. There was no mention of Alex Soti. Alex Soti at no time was chairman of Modern Ceramics, neither was he the managing director. So I don't know how they get Alex Soti involved in this. I have heard stories about Alex Soti not building industries in Abia State and not providing job employments. At what time has the provision of job employments become a condition precedent to one assuming office as governor of this state? How many industries did Umeh Kalu build in Abia before he became governor? And how many did T.O.G. build? How many industries did Igbazu build even before becoming governor? Even the man that he is now supporting, has he built any? So these things are tales that don't hold water. And more or less, these are governments, the PDP governments. There were industries in Abia State. If industry they've now suddenly woken up to find reason why industry should be. The question we should ask, what happened to the industries that we had in Abia State? These past governments inherited modern ceramics, like I said. I don't want to go to the issue of golden guineas. I equally know the story. We equally inherited that. What of the glass industry in Aba? What of Ogwe poultry? What of all the plantations we have in the Kolokwe plantations? All these things have been sold out. We had palm plantations in Oka area. We had rubber plantations in Aba. These things have all been sold out by these past governments. So you see, it's just a question of calling a dog a bad name. Why will Alex Soti retrench workers? Does it make sense? Why will he even bring them down from the 1 grade? But in any event, this 1% they are talking, this one level ahead, I'm sure the civil servants are, they should know that this thing is neither here nor there. Telling them that you promote them by one level in April, when the elections would have come and gone. It's a Greek gift. I say it like the type of gift they gave to me when I left office as Attorney General. And I will let Abians know. When I left as Attorney General, I was offered a contract by this Abia State government. What they called a consultancy, that I should be their legal consultant. And the fee was 5 million per month. The documents are with me. They were signed, sealed. I have them. And I knew that that was a way of keeping me in their fold. And I said, to hell. I decided, as I stay here, I have it. If I calculate that amount of money from that period to now, to get it to 248 million or so, I have no business with that. That is the type of Greek gift they give. I will never ask for it. I will never go for it. The day I left here, 29th May 2019, I turned my back on this government. It was voluntary. I had no problem with Igbazo or anybody. But I had gotten to a breaking point, because I did not consider what was happening in Abia proper. Those who accuse me don't know. Because as Attorney General, somebody must do that job. And I know what I saved Abia. Those things will be contained in my memo. Those who worked with me, all the commissioners in Abia, for the period, the 10-year period that I worked here as a commissioner, I am sure, because they were always having serial dissolutions and all that, I am sure I worked in the ESCO with not less than 300 to 400 Abians who were commissioners. They know my words. They know that I'm the only person who can tell the governor this is not right. I wasn't part of what they were doing, but somebody must do the job, and in the process, I saved so many things here. Okpara Auditorium, as I speak, would have been seeded out. I stopped the contract as Attorney General. I stopped it. The records are there. Abia House in Enugu would have been seeded out for just 15,000 a month. I stopped the contract. Same with our Abia House in Lagos. These were the things we did. It wasn't for public consumption. So, but what I'm saying is that this state belongs to us. We have no other state apart from Abia. My parents are from Abia, my grandparents, I saw them. I have 2 grandchildren. And their father is from Abia. That means I have another generation after me that will be Abians. We all have a duty. And what is that duty? To fix Abia State. I have had serial discussions with people from all shades of life, Abians and those even outside Abia. And they tell me that they are sorry with that Abia is in a pitiable condition. Even the blind can feel it. Even the blind can feel it. So what is confronting us now as Abian? It's not a question of whether you are an Ngwa man or Kwangwa man or an Ohafia man or whatever thing. We have a big problem in our hands. We have to fix this state. We have to fix it. This state is in a terrible condition. Workers are being owed. Pensioners are being owed. Abia State University was a school I attended. The medical school of Abia State University was the best when we were there, especially the school of optometry. As I speak to you, they've been denied accreditation. A state that is just there has within this period built a university of medicine, which the federal government has taken over. So what are we going to talk about? Go to Ebonyi State. And I tell people that it does appear that Ebonyi State is the albatross of Abia. Because in the past we used to talk about not having revenue. What revenue has Ebonyi State? What revenue has Ebonyi State? We are an oil producing state collecting 13% derivation from the federal government. Ebonyi State has no revenue. In fact, they are one of the least populated states in the country. We have a mega city that should produce an IGR of no less than 5 billion, if properly managed. But those who've left here to govern us have given out the revenue to their friends and cronies, in-laws and children. They collect it. I am here and I know what I'm saying. I was here for a period of time. Look at all the housing projects we've had in Abia. Can we boast of any housing project? Go to other states, you see government housing estates. As I speak to you, Abia State has not been able to produce one housing estate. The timber shed market, I'm sure you know who built it and how that one came to pass. You can go there and see it. There's another housing estate close to timber shed here. I've forgotten the name that was at one point given to Lisametu to construct. There are buildings there. Nobody has been able to move in there. All the offices in Abia State at a point, government had a policy of moving civil servants to what they call state secretariat. Ministry of Works had to be moved. Ministry of Lands had to be moved. The Ekonha market that we had to be moved to Bani Beku. Has anybody ever pondered how those things were conceptualized? Go there, you see buildings. Who are the owners of those buildings? Who signed those contracts? I was Attorney General. And I can tell you that I never signed any contract with anybody overseeing these properties. These are state properties. I don't have the story of the Ministry of Works. Neither do I have the story of the former Ministry of Lands or even of Bani Beku. These were things that were done within government house circle. And yet we are here as Abians. I don't want to talk about the Abia Hotel. Abia Hotel is a sorry sight. If I tell you, when I remember Abia Hotel, my heart bleeds. Because when I assumed here as Attorney General, Abia Hotel was ceded to one man, I can't remember his name, for about 15, by all Jews of Carlos government, for 15 million per month, 15,000 per year. And the governor called me and said, how do we recover this thing? I said, well, we'll look at the terms of this thing, and we'll find some clauses. I went into negotiation with the man, and we recovered that place. The matter was in court. We arrived at a consent judgment. Some amount of money was paid to him, and he ceded the place. And I am aware that a lot of investors came to take Abia Hotel, because that is a prime land in Abia. You can see how massive that place is. Emeka Onwuka, he's from Umeh here, who was former managing director of a bank. I've forgotten the name of the bank. Came with South Africans to build a 7-star hotel at that place. He brought the drawings, we all agreed. Somewhere along the line, out of personal interest, the man was frustrated. He's an Abian. He could be contacted, he will tell you. Now, what has become of Abia Hotel site? It's just a drinking plot. No hotel has come up on it. So, this will show you how our affairs have been managed as a people. Look at the Bani Beku market. The colossal amount of money. You need to see the billions that went into the construction of that market. How many treasures do you have there? As we were doing Obani market, borrowing money and all that, Imo State started a market just across the border there. Go and see that market. It didn't cost Imo State government any dime. And that market is in place, bubbling. Meanwhile, Obani Beku is the shadow of itself. There's nobody there. Talk about the old Umeh market. What has become of that Umeh market? Where the people were displaced? Look at the type of structures there. Who owns it? What are the conditions under which that place was given? That land is equally prime land. So the totality of what I'm saying is that we don't have good managers. It's all about personal interest. Is it not sad that after 30 years of our creation, we don't have a government house? That the governor has no office? I have a friend, a PDP official, who came a few months ago to see the governor. And he came back to Abuja and told me, he said, my friend, is that how your governor's office is? That they went to Abia and they couldn't see anything. And that some of them complained. So what I'm saying is that we cannot continue this way. There is no road to Ohafia, even as I speak, where I come from. You have to go through Ibane to access Ohafia. And so for other communities. So the point I'm making, really, is that we have lost so many of our senior citizens out of non-payment of salaries. Salaries have been owed. Pensioners who spent all their time working for the state, and at the end of when they need the state to support them, we can't support them. Some have not been paid for several months. They can't afford 15 naira to buy high-pressure drugs, and some of them are dying. I don't know if the managers of this state realize that the blood of those people that have died will be on their head. They are accountable to it. How would a civil servant, those who are working in lab suit, not be paid for 27 months? A man who has a family. My school, Abia State University, where I schooled, they've been owed about 11 or 10 months now, the lecturers. And they have families. Same with local government staff. There is no local government in Abia State that gets less than 100 million in a month. And the wage bill of these people won't be anything more than 4 million or 5 million. Yet they have been owed salaries. What of our teachers? What of Anuchukwu College of Education? I recall a time they had about 24 months salary arrears, and there was a negotiation with the management there that they should waive those ones and then continue from a fresh. And I'm told they yielded. Now I hear the arrears equally has gone past 12 months again. What of Abia Polytechnics? Abia Polytechnics is a sorry side. This was a school that was bubbling. Now you can look at the student population. They've all withdrawn. The teachers have not been paid for several months. Most of their courses have been deaccredited. So, you see, we cannot continue this way as a state. Something must give way. And what is that something? The something that gives way is that we must change the way we run this state. And let me say this emphatically, that the problem of Abia, I've said it in several fora, that the problem of Abia is godfatherism. We cannot continue to allow our governors, each one at the end of your tenure, you want to bring a successor. Apart from being undemocratic, it's nonsensical. Nobody does it now. And no state will ever make any progress under this type of arrangement that we have. Ojo Kalu brought theology to the knowledge of everybody. Theology never at any time was clamoring to be governor. He was a civil servant doing his job. But he dragged him into the arena and funded his election. Everything he did. Tia had no money to fund the election. It was Ojo that did it. And at the end of the day, I'm sure you've seen what has happened. At the end of Theology's tenure, he equally brought in Ikbazo. Ikbazo was here. I never knew Ikbazo, even as Attorney General. And Ikbazo never told anybody he wanted to be governor. It was just a clique that brought Ikbazo. Ikbazo had no money. I can say this emphatically. It was funded by Theology. Now, Ikbazo is now bringing one other man. I hear he's called Ahiwe. Just a month ago, Ahiwe was busy doing his chief of staff job. And now he's being dragged. Unprepared. So what I'm saying is that, you see, godfatherism, people don't understand what is involved in it. Because it is a godfather that funds the election. First of all, you start with the primaries. He has to provide the money for the primaries. Colossal amount of money. He has to fund the election. And after all that, those funds will be calculated. The governor will pay. It does not come free. And when the governor pays, who pays? It is the state that pays. And most of these people who don't have a program, they are not prepared, just like the man they are bringing in PDP now. What program has he? The man had just been dragged into this race. He has no manifesto. They will hand over one to him. We can't keep living our place. People cannot be experimenting with us. Abia is a big state. We must have people who are trusted, people who have gone through the mill, people who have experience, who have been able in the past, who have pedigree, people who have in the past to manage resources and humans. You must have a track record. We don't just bring anybody. And when the Godfather succeeds in planting a successor, the person who is on throne must go to the Godfather in everything, including appointment of your commissioners, including the job that you have to do. And that is why we are where we are. Go around and look at other states. Ebonyi is where they are today because Omaye has no Godfather. Enugu the same. Anambra, P2B wouldn't have succeeded in Anambra if he had a Godfather. So we must do something differently in Abia State. What I am saying in effect is that we should do away with Godfatherism. That is the bane of our politics in Abia State, and that is what has kept us where we are. We must look for people who are credible, people who are trusted, people who have track record, someone who is prepared. My coming to Alex Oti has nothing to do with anything. I'm not coming to be a commissioner in Abia or secretary to government or whatever thing. I have no business here, apart from the fact that this is our state. And we must fix this state. And like I said earlier, we must fix it. I have looked at all the candidates that have represented themselves. This is the most credible. We wouldn't lose this chance. That chance was lost in 2015. If we had gotten it right in 2015, Odia was on the other side, I'm sure we won't be where we are. Alex Oti has friends, he has connections and network, and people look up to him with huge expectations. And let me address this issue of where he comes from. You see, they keep touting about this idea of Alex Oti coming from Ano or coming from Isialangwa. What is important is that the man is from Abia State. That is what qualifies him. All of us come from somewhere. I'm from Ohafia, and I live in Okagwe, in Ohafia. But my parents and my grandparents migrated from Elu in Ohafia. I still have my lineage there. And I can tell you vividly, even the present governor, now, there are stories about where he's coming from. He would not tell me that he was planted in, what's that, his village, where he comes from. The former governor, who I still respect, my boss, T. Oji, I was close to him. I know he has lineage in Oho. He has there in Oho. If you go there, you see the road he built for them. That is where he's coming from. But he's in Ibeku now. That does not stop him from being an Ibeku person because the father came from there to Ibeku. So the issue of Alex Oti coming from, the father coming from Aruchuku to Isialangwa is neither here nor there. And now let me address our Ngwa brothers. Because you see, we've taken this thing to a point where I see videos in Ngwa language. I have friends from Ngwa. I grew up in Aba. If I start speaking Ngwa to you now, you think it's my first language. My friends know, even the governor, everybody around me, they know that I cherish speaking Ngwa. Those friends were my childhood friends. I still keep them till now. The first vehicle I gave to anybody was to an Ngwa man, who was my friend. I used to go to their place to sleep overnight as a young boy in secondary school. And the Ngwa people are not what people think they are. Because the impression people are creating now is that Ngwa land is synonymous with violence, synonymous with crime. That is not what Ngwa land represents. It's a place that is blessed. They have the richest agricultural land we have in Abia State. There is nothing that will not yield in Ngwa land. But what I want to tell our Ngwa people, that there is no battle between the Ngwa man and the Bende person. Absolutely nothing. These things are things they show up to divide us. As Attorney General, I know that the first contract I signed, the governor knows, was a contract worth billions of naira. I don't want to mention the person who had that contract, but it equally has to do with this Godfatherism thing. That contract was to run from Odumaya to Aba, passing the governor's village, and crisscrossing all those villages along that road. The essence of that contract, from what they told me, was that it was to complement the express road that then had problem. As I speak to you, that road has not been constructed. What the Ngwa man should be asking himself, you've had the governor from Ngwa land for 8 years. What has he done in Ngwa land? He should point at the villages. He should point at those he has empowered. That is what is important. So it's not a question of the man is from your place. What is happening here is like what is happening between us and the Northern people. The Northerners have been in power in Nigeria for several years. Yes, they remain the poorest people in this country. Their being in leadership has not reflected in their wealth. The same thing is happening here. Those in authority, I want to say it rather than clear. I have worked with 2 governors. They are not concerned about anybody. It's only about themselves, their children, their wives, and their in-laws. If they have few friends, these are people that they use, and after some time they dump them. I was used. I don't want to say all the things I did. You people know the role I played. But as a lawyer, I must say, I keep saying it. And I had to do that role because I was a lawyer, and it's a professional course. I fought several legal battles for TOG. I fought several battles for KZ Plaza. I wasn't doing those things to undermine other people. I did those things in the process of doing my job as a lawyer. That is the point I want to make. And I know these people in and out, that all they care about is about themselves. Is it not sad that all these governors who have ruled us, you need to go to where they live. You need to go to where they live. They live like lords, yet they cannot fix our place. Those from all the governors, look at the environment. In Umeh, we know where the best place is in Umeh. If you go to Umeh Kalu, we know where the best place is. So the point I'm making is that let us stop beating up these ethnic drumbeats. It's not about Ngwa and whoever. And let me equally warn those of them who go about raising these ethnic sentiments. I equally know their interest. Their interest is that they want to remain in government as Umeh, eating out of the system. There are people who have been in this government for more than 30 years. They started with Umeh Kalu. They were there with TOG. They are here with Okezi Kwasi. They are waiting to come to whoever. In fact, some of them who now see that the pendulum is tilting towards Alex Oti, are people strategizing? And I asked them, how come you will not look for some other thing to do? I don't want to mention their names here, but they know them, and they know I know them. And I've told people living in Ohafia that being in politics is not a profession. You cannot claim when they ask you what job you say a politician cannot be a profession. You must look for job to do, for Christ's sake. If you've gotten money from the system, invest it somewhere. You can be a trader. You can learn handwork. I am a lawyer, a trained lawyer at that. Since I left here in 2019, nobody has seen me here. And I have no business here, even if Alex Oti wins. I can only come visit him because this is my state. Nobody will drive me from here. But my job here is finished. I am done with it. I have gone back to my practice. And even making more money. How much was I being paid in Abia? And that is what some of them don't know. That when one road closes, another will open. They are afraid of the future. That is why they keep rewinding them. There are people who are in this Abia state who have been commissioners 4 times. Commissioner for health, commissioner for this. They keep changing them. After some time, they will make them chief of staff. From chief of staff to SSG and all like that. For some point, they will take you back to local government chairman. And the circle is just the same people. It's a cult. These people don't add value to the system. They are just hirelings. What they do is to abuse people. Just like I'm talking, I'm sure by tomorrow, the whole place will be awash with things they will say about me. But they should know I'm capable. Because I won't be talking without facts. I don't want to bring out facts here. And I'm not after anybody. Anybody who comes after me with meat is Waterloo. But what I'm saying is that we must fix this state. We must fix this state not only for ourselves, for our children and generations to come. This is our state. We don't have any other state apart from Abia State. And they can't run us out of here. So my message to the electorate is this. Now there is a resolve because the handwriting is on the way. Everybody has seen it. We can't go beyond this point. We've been taken to a breaking point. If we allow these people again for another 4 years, we should just go and bury Abia State. Another 4 years. This time will be terrible. In the past, we've been having just one godfather. But you can see that this time now, there's a confluence, there's an emergence. All the godfathers have agreed to bring one person. And that one person is indebted to all of them. There will be nothing left to rule this state. There will be nothing left. So we must reject these people. We must reject them, consign them to the... I have told Alex Oti that we don't go for vendetta. I will never for one day stand anywhere, write any petition against anybody. Nobody. I will never go to any court to testify. At a point, EFCC even invited me over something. But I know what I did. I'm not after anybody. If I had gone there, I know what will happen. But I directed them to who they should go to. And nobody has taken what belongs to me. But what they've taken is what belongs to Abians. They should let this state be. They should let this state be. There's an extent that will go. And they should feel the pulse of the people. The young men, and I told one of them, I met one of our elders at the airport today. And I told him, I said, see, we're playing with fire. This thing will get to a point where it will consume everybody. It will consume us. It's going to be a battle between those who have and those who don't have. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter the peanuts that we give them. At the end of the day, these children have eyes. They know these people who are their leaders, and they know where they're coming from. The present governor has friends, and they know his pedigree. If he was the son of Dangote, they know. Same for all the rest that have ruled us. They know their status before they became governor and where they are now. So these children are watching. It will come to a time where we will not have a hiding place for anybody. I'm appealing to them to respect the wish of the people. Beating drum beats and threatening hell and fire, killing people, will not help us. They should allow democracy to take its place. If for any reason the people have now risen up, they've woken from sleep, like I see, from their slumber, to say, look, we have to take back our state. They should give back their state to the people so that Abia can move. This is my story for Abia people. Please, and for the next staff that are coming, I don't know if you're listening to me. I know a lot of you have been planning to come to Abia. I understand that some of you have been scheming, lobbying to come to Abia because they know that this is where money will come. I want to appeal to you and to your conscience. Please, do the right thing here. Allow people. I'm told that at the last election, people were coming with ballot papers, asking INEC people to insert them in their coming with yes, they came and tried to ask them to write results. No INEC person should write any result here. No INEC person. The results, the people, our votes must count in Abia. If you're a security man, please, there's nothing, even whether police or army. We are all human beings. I'm sure you people go around Abia and look around. Have you seen a state like Abia? Even the roads that we ply, the markets that you go to, the buildings. We are in a terrible situation in Abia. So please, I appeal to those who are coming to conduct these elections. Nobody should rig election for anybody. For now, I'm in the Labour Party. I'm not saying, and I will never ask anybody to rig election. What we're asking for is that let the wish of the people and their will be respected. I know a lot of clergymen have been crying out to God, and God has heard their prayers. God has heard the prayer of Abia. This time, I'm sure the story. Some of you electors have been complaining that the last time you voted, and along the line, something happened. It's not going to be that way this time. I can assure you, more so when there's been serious amendment to the Electoral Act. Forget about what happened at Abuja over P2P. That matter has been handled, and I can assure you because I've seen the papers. I've seen the documents. I've seen very soon, in a couple of days, the petition will be filed, and the whole world will see what happened. So for Abia State, I know that what they are planning and what they've been saying is that they want the result to be announced. Let them go to court. It's not going to be that way. This is a local election, and people are standing. People are willing and ready. So I want to tell those who are in charge of this election, whether you're the EO, returning officer, whatever you are, whether the admin strike or whatever thing, please, I beg you in the name of God that you must do the right thing. We've suffered enough in Abia. I'm not asking you to rig the election for Labour Party, but what I ask people to do is to do the right thing. You have your electoral guidelines. The Electoral Act has stimulated the way people should vote. Allow people to go to the voting centers. Let the election start early. The last time there were areas that elections did not hold. Some papers got there about 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Thereby running short their voting period. But in the north, there, by 8 o'clock, people were already voting. So we don't want to see this in Abia. And we don't want the issue of shortage of electoral materials, because there were places where they will tell you they don't have enough governorship ballot papers, maybe because they think those are the strongholds. So I will conclude this thing by appealing to my younger brethren, finally. Please, 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 there is no battle between Nungwa and Bende or whatever thing. The important thing is that we must elect somebody who has the capacity to rule our state, who has the capacity to fix things. The wrath here is terrible. Our stench, everybody is talking about Abia. We must rescue this state, not only for ourselves, but for our children and generations to come. Thank you.